Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Higher Expertise. We're back in the office in a beautiful day, 63 degrees outside. And with me, I have Shirley, Javier, Austin, and Israel. How you guys doing today?
We're
Hello,
great.
everyone.
Back in the office. Good to be back. It's nice to get everything back in order in the office here. So it's
Yeah,
nice.
and I usually say the weather is nice, but the weather is really nice today. Actually, it's in the 70s, I think, close to the 70s.
It is, and so we're here. Although we're here in the office and we are doing the podcast remotely, but we're working on the station right now. We're doing something different, getting ready to do some upgrades here in the station. So, meantime, we're gonna be here remotely to create this content, and we are gonna be talking about the situation with GameStop. Uh, pretty interesting situation. What's been going on? So, guys, let's jump right into it. What's going on? What's going on with GameStop right now?
Well, I'll start because you have to have some context to get into what happened in just a week. But we
Right.
all know what GameStop is. It's a brick and mortar store for video games and nerd accessories, whatever you want to find there for Xbox, PlayStation. They probably have it there. For whatever reason, maybe it was because of the pandemic, GameStop has been going out of business for some time. Uh,
Or in
the-
decline. In
In
decline.
decline, yes.
Yeah.
And it was well known, not well known, but known last 2 weeks ago that the hedge funds, particularly Melvin Capital, were shorting the GameStop shares in order to make their investors a lot of money before they went out of business. Transversely, Reddit, specifically Wall Street Bets, which we'll get into, decided that they wanted to stick it to the man, if you will, and buy as many shares of GameStop as possible. So, if anybody wants to take it from here,
No, I think that it's the ultimate. I like it because I was watching an article right now, which is very interesting, and I agree. It's like the ultimate David and Goliath story. I love the fact that what was also very interesting that now all these um, this Melvin Capitals, all these guys, the powers to be, let's put it this way, of Wall Street. Now they all of a sudden they want to ask for regulation, and which is very interesting because they're doing whatever they wanted for the past how long, 40, 50 years. Now all of a sudden they have these guys off of Reddit, they're sticking it to them, and all of a sudden they asking for regulation. I think that's very interesting, which is pretty much what they do. They've been doing all along. They've been manipulating the market, and I think I'm happy, and it's time that somebody else have a say on how much the market is going to be.
Well, I mean, usually the hedge funds, kind of like what Austin was saying, is they try to manipulate or try to invest in companies that are going to go out of business or they see a big decline. We've seen that the gaming business has gone digital, so there's no need for a brick and mortar company. And so these hedge fund managers were actually betting on them going out of business, and they didn't expect for the rise of their stock to be like it has been in the last couple of weeks, right? So they were betting on GameStop to go out of business. And what has happened is that all these day traders, all these guys that were on Reddit, which was actually a group started by this other guy who was blogging about stocks called the Roaring Kitty for some reason, and he had a YouTube channel probably 6-7 months ago, was putting out videos that GameStop had upwards potential. I don't think he realized that the stock would ever hit $500. The stock was at $2, and his upward potential was probably $6-8. So he didn't realize how huge the potential was until they started getting on Reddit and collaborating and colluding and talking together about how they can raise the stock up.
Yeah, I have my own take on the whole thing, right? Not to play the black sheep or anything like that, but I think hedge funds have been doing what they always do, right? They are smart people who can
Hmm.
predict this kind of thing because they know it, and it only makes sense. So if it was me, I would also be shorting GameStop. So I don't know why these other guys are trying to stand up to these companies instead of just shorting the stock themselves and making some money that way, because it only makes sense. You have PlayStation now, you have all of these new software.
Boxes,
I mean,
all
yeah,
these boxes, yeah.
so you can go online to the PlayStation app and buy the games right there, and then you already have it on the system. You
Yeah, I
don't need
mean,
the physical, and the malls are closing. So usually GameStop stores are inside of certain malls, and they have their own locations as well. But it only makes sense, and I think at some point, the Reddit folks, which I'm following, but at some point they're gonna start getting scared and dropping their positions, and the stock is finally going to
oh,
down at the end of the day.
it's already doing that. So
Yeah,
it's yeah, the stock is already coming down. Um, but I compare GameStop to Blockbuster, right?
same thing.
Blockbuster was a huge success at one time, but people are no longer going to to the store to rent videos. They're buying the movies online, So GameStop is eventually going to go out of business if they don't change their business model. So yeah,
Exactly.
the hedge fund managers ultimately know that that company is going to go bankrupt, but they weren't counting on these people getting together and raising the stock price like they did.
Yeah.
But
Now what?
it's still very interesting to me that these guys, the hedge funds now are asking for regulation where nobody they're never asked for regulation
They
before in
never.
the past, and
Well,
all of
then,
a sudden, and I mean, then the question is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because they're
well,
doing,
in order.
these guys in Reddit are doing pretty much what they've been doing all along. I mean, just because you don't like what they're doing, what's wrong and what's right at this particular point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it is the hedge funds asking for the regulations, or I think there is a corporation or an organization that is like SEC or something like that, and they know they cannot go after the hedge funds and the banks and those big, the big people.
Institutions,
So
institutions.
they go after a simple user in Reddit to to ask for some questions and to investigate and things like that. So and to have some legal issues with these other people in Reddit instead of going to the hedge funds and all that. I think they should, in my opinion, they should let Reddit do their own thing. They should let the hedge fund keep on doing their thing, because that would be like remove the trash, and another bad smell could come out of that
You don't
thing.
want to stir the pot too much.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you guys think of Robin Hood manipulating the market and closing?
I don't think Robin Hood was actually manipulating the market. I think Robin Hood was, covering their margins or covering their losses. If you look at how stocks work, and how short selling works, is your upward potentials on buying stock is unlimited. Your downward potential on shorting a stock is unlimited. So you have, when you buy a stock, you can make a ton of money, or lose a lot of money, but the money that you can lose on buying the stock is limited for what you put in. On the short selling, for the big institution, not your normal users, your losses on shorting a stock when it goes from $2 to $500, it's a huge number for big institution. And so Robinhood was just trying to cover their margins, their positions, their losses, right? Because they are lending all these people tons of money. How much money did they lend Melbourne Capital? It's a ton of money because they lost
Three
a ton of.
billion at least.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that I don't think that, I mean, the hedge funds are not using Robinhood to trade, right? Robinhood is used by like regular people like Austin, myself, and but you're right, they're trying to go over their margin because some people, I have a cash account, so I don't use their money, but whomever uses a margin account, usually that broker would like give them a percentage of the money that they deposit in the
A
account. So if
margin.
they, yeah, so if they deposit 2,000, then Robinhood might match that or give them an extra 1,000, yeah, so they can go into the market with more money. But that's money that is been borrowed from Robinhood. So that's probably what they were doing.
They're
Just
trying
to
to
Like,
cover. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Austin. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, just to piggyback off your point, Javier, you're right about people like ourselves using Robinhood, but I think that's what has left so many people using Reddit or Twitter for investing frustrated because they know we are the little guy, they're the little guy compared to the big hedge funds, and I feel like what Robinhood did, what you guys said about covering their losses, sounds really good, but at the same time, I don't think they had the right to do that, and I don't think that it's going to pay off for them. I think they're going to lose a lot of customers because, if a retail investor like ourselves wants to gamble all of their money, why not?
It's our money anyway.
Yeah,
Right, and a lot of people were, I think what has happened is a perfect storm, right? You have a lot of these guys or a lot of these people that were staying at home. They get a stimulus check. They want to make extra money because they're either laid off or furloughed or whatever, and now they got $1,200 that they can play with. They see the stock market as a kind of like a game, right? I can make I got this money for free, $1,200. I'll go ahead and invest it. If I make a ton of money, that's great. And I think that's what happened here is a perfect storm. It's a group of people that got together and try to drive the price high as much as they could with
that
$1,200 that it was handed to them.
But there is one thing that we need to also think about. The brokers who did this and closed the position and didn't let people short the stock, or I think they let sell but not buy more. So it
Right.
was Robinhood, Webull, Thinkorswim. Those are free brokers. They don't charge you a fee, like a monthly fee.
I
Why?
think each
The big traders like Lightspeed and those big brokers, they didn't they didn't do that. They let people use their money to go in and out in positions because they do charge a monthly fee and they're usually pretty expensive.
right.
So that's something to think about as well. Robinhood is their own, their brokerage is a free. You don't have to pay for using the app or for going in and out of positions.
What about moving forward? Who do you think that's another company that are going to be targeted into this? Like, for example, AMC itself. You think that companies like this are going to be targeted or next, or what do you see going forward with this whole situation?
If you ask me, I didn't go into GameStop. I wouldn't go into AMC or any other because it's way too risky. I would rather just use my own knowledge of what I know about chart analysis and things like that, rather than just follow a group like it's happening right now. You would think that would have exploded even higher, but all of a sudden it's down, and you read the comments on Reddit and you see, oh, I'm down 54K. Who else is holding, and then
Right.
you don't know what's happening, who's betraying the pack, or so that kind of thing is just scary to me, so I wouldn't.
You're out of it. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people who go into this thing, are usually millennials. They have this motto called YOLO. You only live once, and
Right.
so it's young millennials who don't mind the volatility or the risk, and they're open to the potential of making a ton of money if it goes up, and also they're limited, right? Because these guys were all limited to $1,200 on their stimulus check, and so you had a perfect storm, is if you ask me, where you had a whole bunch of people working from home. They were given $1,200. and they saw the upward potential as you only do it once, and that's what happened. Is it going to happen again? Absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot of people getting together on some of the social media to ban and create packs and have a predetermined leader of the pack dictate which companies are they going to target and move forward. I think AMC is one of them. I think American Airlines is another. There's a number of these companies out there that they're targeting uh, just because they got hit really hard as a result of the pandemic, and now they have some upward potential.
But what's really interesting, like I was talking to you yesterday, Israel, what's really interesting to me is that they these group of people, they invested in a company that was already on its demise, such as in this particular case GameStop. Same thing with AMC, although AMC we're just assuming it hasn't happened yet. But it's a company that everybody knows it's on their demise, but it's a company that's emotionally connected to, especially in this particular case, millennials. Because although they have a business model that is really, you know, it's on the way down. People are buying digital. People are not going to the store and buying hard copies. I mean, I love hard copies, but I mean, I understand that it's passe. It's still a company that is emotionally connected with people. And I'm wondering, if if they invested in this company, even though it was already on the demise, then what's next? Whose company is going to be next? And if there's going to be potential to reinvent the market, because okay, so who are you to say that this company is on its demise? We say no. We say that no, this company, we're going to buy this company and maybe even reinvent business. Even businesses itself, they might be able to say, wait a minute, this might be a wake up call, and like we might as well reinvent ourselves. Who's to say that they can't do that, or there's potential for that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's possible, and I hate to sound like the bad guy we were talking about, but last week I did make some money off of AMC, selling the shares that I had before it went down. So yes, I think people need to make their own decisions. And like Javier mentioned earlier, I want to enforce to everyone watching this that you should not follow this herd mentality uh, of gambling, because it will not always pay off. And there's a
No.
guy on MSNBC or CNBC named Jim Cramer, and people, blindly follow his picks for 30 years. He's been on television right after the market closes each day. And I would say that stay focused. Don't lose interest into investing, but make your own decisions and formulate your own thinking strategies as you continue to invest your money, because uh, you can't fall victim to blindly throwing your money at something. There's even groups of people that have bet against Reddit, that have bet against Jim Cramer, and that will continue to happen. There's always going to be another big commodity that people are going to invest in, like GameStop. And Nelson, you have a very valid point about the millennial focus. There he is, the millennial focused businesses, and Israel also mentioned the businesses that have been hit hard during the pandemic. So it's possible.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that I think at some point I don't know if they can do anything against the Reddit group, because that would mean then after they're done with Reddit, they should go after the people who give who have a session live in the morning right before the market opens, and they have millions of followers.
Yeah,
And
that's it. The CNBC before the bell
yeah, it
call.
can be,
Right.
warrior trader, it can be you name it. There are many of them, and you have their chat group, and they're right there at 8 a.m. even before, or at 8:30 when the market is about to open, and they're telling their group what are they looking at, and
Uh,
their positions, and what's their price target. So that also rises the price up or down, because if they say I'm planning on going in at $2, and this is a guy who's making millions of dollars apparently a year trading stocks, and I'm in that chat, I might go in at that price as well. And if we are 2,000 in the chat, we all do it at the same time, that's going to spike the price because
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
volume of money coming into the market for that
The,
stock. So
there is some, that how you have insider trading and outsider trading. I think what we're talking about is outsider trading, right? People getting together, creating a pack or creating a herd, and all trying to manipulate the stock market in some fashion. Insider trading is more about you got some information that the company's doing well. Maybe they have a big purchase order, and now you go out, or they something like the pandemic where they sold the shares before the pandemic hit, right? So I think you may see some regulation come in where you can't have big herds of people try to drive the price either up or down coming in the future.
Yeah, very
yeah,
interesting for me that and I think that also uh, what's interesting is the fact that Reddit. I mean, Reddit has been around for a while, and but like I was talking to you yesterday, Israel, that forums are alive and well, right? It's here to stay. They're not going apparently it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So
No.
it's very interesting that straight from a forum they just manipulated the market. Who would have said in a million
I,
years?
Well, I think what you have here is you have that social media is playing a bigger role, right? You and I know it as forums from the past, but this is social media live and well, and people interacting and playing a bigger role than we want one expected, right? We've seen that social media has played a disruption in politics. We're seeing now that social media is playing a disruption. It's disrupting the financial markets when people are getting together, exchanging information at a very fast pace, and allowing multiple, like masses of people to get together at once, you see disruptions. And so I think social media is going to be leading that effort, with people causing disruption in politics, in financial markets, and some of the others as well.
yeah, and that can be a double-sided blade because when you have a lot of brilliant people joining together in a group or a chat, ton of good ideas come through, and it's amazing. When you have a ton of depressed people or sad people, people that are not doing so well these days, then bad things might happen because they're not happy, they're not in a good place, or they're not thinking from a good uh, place. So
Oh, but that has
it's like that.
already happened. That's already happened. It's been happening for a while already, and I think maybe it's the other way around. It was about time that something good came out of people coming together in social media. I mean, good depending on how you look at
Good for the small person. Good for the small person. Bad for
and
the
for the hedge funds in this particular
right,
case,
right.
so yes, people are been getting together for what, especially this year 2020, and you have your conspiracies here and there and about the Capitol Hill and all that, but I mean, I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory
I
or
don't
just
think
a
we want
fact
to
or
address.
not.
Yeah, we
So
don't want to. We don't want to touch that can of worm on this
but I'm just
conversation.
giving giving an example of the
Yeah,
kind of what can cause out of people coming together
yeah.
on social media. You know what I mean? In this particular case, we saw with the stock market, the kind of the all the power that platforms such as Reddit might have.
Yeah, and not just power in a group, but I want to say the power of an individual on social media we've seen is unbelievable. And I think it might bring to the discussion a separate discussion about how tech companies make decisions and the slippery slope that they could be on by banning someone like the former president or anyone. It kind of gets into a gray area that hasn't really been uh,
Explored or
yes,
known. Yeah.
legislated. But I think in the future we will see new laws for social media. You know, based on what Javier was saying, there could be groups of hate speech that come together in these times because they're frustrated or they think they are right, and they could lead to a disruptive something or even a terror attack. So
Yeah, I will leave people with this message, and I think I've said it before. always do your own diligence. Do your own research.
Do your own research.
Read, listen to different sources. Don't just follow one. Don't
I
follow a pack. Make your own decisions and think about where you want to be in the future. Not don't focus on so much on where you at, especially if you're in a bad place, because things can get better if you do good, and instead of doing bad, it will never come to a good conclusion.
Don't be a follower. Be a thinker.
No, but I
Yeah,
think I do think that there's a lot of people that just tend to follow, because they hear a message over and over and over and over again, so it gets ingrained in their head. We see that, typically with the very young generation or very old generation, right? They get on YouTube, they get on all these social medias, and they're constantly hearing this message. Uh, they will start believing some of that, and that is the power of social media.
that is a
Also, for
power. Hmm.
it's a very, it's kind of like what you said, Javier. It's a double-edged sword. You can use it for good, or you can use it towards, harm, could create harm. So you have to be very careful on what you consume, and verify some of that stuff, and then also have your own, come to your own conclusion on some of these things. Not be guided by some of the things that you hear out there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
All right. I think that's good for today. It's a huge topic. It's an ongoing topic, so we're gonna leave it here. Maybe we can follow up depending on how we see these upcoming weeks. And definitely, if there's another target, we're definitely gonna target this topic again, because that's very interesting. Uh, so for now, thank you guys for being here. Follow us on social media, everyone. Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. Go to our website if you need any help, and engage with us. We're going back to the office. If we're hiring right now, please get in contact with us. We'll be more than happy to talk to you and join our team. And with that being said, thank you guys for being here, and we're going to see you on the next episode. Take care, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.